Who was the real George Armstrong Custer? Was he the golden-haired cavalier, a national hero whose courage helped save the Union? Or was he a reckless gambler, a proud man who wagered the lives of his men on a gamble for personal glory? In the smoke and chaos of the Civil War, he crafted a legend so powerful, so deliberately theatrical, that it captivated a nation and made him one of the most famous men in America. He was a boy general, a lover of poetry, and a devoted husband whose flowery letters whispered of a soul far different from the one he showed the world.
Born United
Yet,
States of
that
America,
carefully constructed myth
sat in a
would
state
lead him to a windswept
delicate
ridge in
balance.
Montana, forever
11,
freezing him in history
11.
as both a hero
11
and a villain.
free states.
This is not just a
11
story of a battle,
slave
but
states.
a story of image
From the
versus
outside
reality.
looking in,
It's a
it
story of how
appears to
legends
be
are made,
perfect
how they can be
harmony.
weaponized, and how
Equal
a single
states,
man's ambition
equal
can echo for
representation.
centuries. So we have to ask ourselves, did George Armstrong Custer die a hero, or did he simply die believing his own story? While viewing this content, remember to hit the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us grow together. Within the annals of the Academy, Custer compiled a record of infractions that was without equal. Despite finishing at the bottom of his class, his intellectual sharpness was unquestionable. When faced with severe challenges, he would focus with great intensity and endure. His life was a mixture of chaos and strict order. A newly minted West Point graduate when the war began, Custer's actions in combat quickly confirmed his readiness for command. Aware that his only capital was his own life, he seized every opportunity for promotion that the war presented. He plunged into danger to distinguish himself, leading from the front alongside his men. With horses shot from under him and dressed in a distinctive uniform, Custer made a conspicuous target for enemy fire. His flamboyant appearance was a perfect match for his bold behavior. Custer always led by personal example, throwing himself into the bloodiest conflict in American history, yet emerging almost without a scratch. He attributed his survival to his belief in his own luck, earning citations for gallantry starting at Bull Run. His string of remarkable cavalry exploits made him a darling of the national press, with the New York Tribune proclaiming him a future champion of literature. The soldiers of his Michigan brigade, often twice his age, revered Custer, following him into the war's most intense firefights and proudly adopting his signature scarlet neckerchiefs. In the crucible of the Civil War, Custer's style of command-daring, impulsive and inspiring, proved to be exactly what was needed. In battle, visibility controls everything. Custer understood this on a profound level. He became a master at projecting an aura of courage and confidence, leading with his saber in hand. This spectacle of Custer charging at the forefront of an assault landed him on the cover of Harper's Weekly and cemented his legend. After his triumph at Gettysburg, Custer became one of the war's most famous officers, celebrated as the Boy General. He remained in the fight until the very last moment, accepting the flag of truce at Appomattox when Lee surrendered on April 9, 1865. Custer's most esteemed commander, Lieutenant General Philip Sheridan, presented him with the surrender table and a note for Custer's wife, Libby. It read, with respect, "Permit me to say, madam, that there is scarcely an individual in our service who has contributed more to bring about this desired result than your very gallant husband. Custer's extraordinary relationship with the camera is also noteworthy." He understood the growing social power of visual imagery and its potential to be manipulated. Custer's theatrical costumes and long flowing hair evoked the romantic ideals of knights errant and cavaliers, which he fused into a unique personal brand. He carefully cultivated his image, growing hair perfumed with cinnamon oil and taking pride in his delicate features and fair complexion. While a few considered him a spectacle, typically his theatrical character was advantageous. During the late 19th century, almost every public personality employed performance to gain recognition. Custer had a natural talent for drama, always seizing the spotlight wherever he went. Yet after Appomattox, Custer found peace more difficult than combat. Although he held the battlefield
of the wheat field, a single regiment of Maine volunteers fires volley after volley into the rebels rushing toward them, holding fast even as their
soldiers to just 30,000. Promotions were scarce, and the once dynamic officer corps dwindled. The daily battles and frantic pace of the war years had vanished. Custer was adrift, unsure of his future. During this period of uncertainty, he leaned on his greatest support, his wife, Elizabeth Bacon Custer, affectionately. "Oh, Ottie, we must perish as one, better the most humble existence together than the most splendid life apart." The words of Libby, his foundation and closest companion, deeply steered him through the upheaval following the war. Fervently, let me affirm to my darling that while I live, is my entire world. Should destiny ordain my fall, my last request would be for her. My final breath will speak her name. Heaven itself will feel lacking till we are joined once more. Their story began in Monroe, Michigan, where Custer lived with his half-sister at age 14, studying at Stebbins Academy. By the fall of 1862, he came back as a charismatic 23-year-old captain, serving on General McClellan's staff and one of Monroe's most sought-after bachelors. Libby, 3 years his junior, was the brilliant, educated child of Judge Daniel Bacon, one of the young ladies' seminary's most pursued women. At first unconvinced by Custer, his persistence eventually succeeded. Despite her father's disapproval, she was captivated by becoming Custer's complete focus. Libby was not only sought after, but also clever and appealing, qualities Custer admired. Their connection was intense and mutually romanticized. "Oh, how wonderful he is! I love him so deeply. His voice remains with me, his kisses stay on my lips," Libby said, capturing the depth of their attachment. "I lose all reason when I think of him." If utter devotion means insanity, then I am nearing that state. Together they personified the knight and lady ideal, the exhilarating life Libby craved. Custer's rapid ascent eventually overcame Judge Bacon's doubts. They were married on February 9, 1864. Despite a brief honeymoon, Custer went back to the front, and Libby eagerly pursued him toward the fighting. Challenging norms, Libby demanded to be near Custer during operations. Whether staying in camp or in lodgings close to battles, she remained his constant support for life. Libby herself had magnetism and resilience. Their professional lives felt merged, a mutual project. Libby knew Custer was driving for greatness and wanted to be involved. Separated by the chaos of war, they found solace in lengthy correspondence, frequently stretching beyond 20 pages. He called her my rosebud, or darling sunbeam. She referred to him by his childhood name, Ottie, or Beau. Immediately they believed their futures were permanently entwined. "When reflecting on my latest successes and the praise for my valor, I picture she will learn of it and be proud of her boy," Custer wrote. "Remember, my love merges my existence with yours. Their partnership was one of equals. I will not give up my identity, but will live as a partner should, united but autonomous," Libby declared. "I never admired obedient wives, but I consider my husband greater in judgment and experience, to be guided by him in all matters." She worked relentlessly to advance his profession, believing he held historical importance. In the end, the autumn of 1866 brought Custer a post with the 7th Cavalry. So who was the genuine George Armstrong Custer? The gilded knight who rode into history's gaze, or the risk-taker who wagered his troops' lives for fame? The dedicated spouse who penned love notes in blood-soaked tents, or the victor whose drive created paths of sorrow? He perished at 36, preserved in time as America's youthful champion, yet his inheritance is a battleground we still traverse today. The legends he built, the realities Libby concealed, the judgment at Little Bighorn, they were never solely his narrative. They are a looking glass, a reflection of how we select our idols, and how idols select their disguises. So I pose the question, was Custer a champion, a foe, or something much more perilous, a man who trusted his own myth? Comment below. And do not forget, history belongs to those who challenge it.